Busch Gardens Los Angeles was an amusement park in Van Nuys, California that opened in 1966 and closed in 1979. Thank you for your suggestion. Before Busch Gardens became synonymous with amusement parks, it was actually the name of a garden of Adolphus Busch, co-founder of Anheuser-Busch's palatial estate in Pasadena, California. Adolphus Busch, who worked in the brewery supply business in the 1860s in St. Louis, and who married the daughter of struggling brewery operator Eberhard Anheuser in 1861. By the time Anheuser died in the 1880s, the company had re-emerged as Anheuser-Busch and was making Budweiser in St. Louis and looking to go national. Adolphus Busch became president of the business and became wealthy due to the success of the brewery. After becoming wealthy in the beer business, Busch purchased a winter home in Pasadena, California. He landscaped the 36 acres around his home with thousands of plants as well as statues, waterfalls, and walking paths. He opened these Busch Gardens to the public in 1906. The gardens became a major tourist attraction even after Busch's death in 1913 and prompted the Pacific Electric Railway to establish a stop for the garden's visitors. Busch Gardens closed in 1937, and the land was later subdivided into a residential neighborhood. The Busch Gardens amusement parks were initially developed as marketing vehicles for Anheuser-Busch and featured hospitality houses with samples of Anheuser-Busch products. They also included stables that housed many of the company's Clydesdale horses, which have been associated with Anheuser-Busch since 1933. In 1954, a new brewery was opened in Los Angeles, in a city known as Van Nuys, located in the heart of the central San Fernando Valley. The brewery was a welcome addition to the community. In fact, soon after the brewery opened in 1954, and every Sunday for almost 2 years, while their new church was being raised, the congregation of the Prince of Peace Lutheran Church held its prayer services in the Budweiser tap room and cafeteria. In 1966, August Busch Jr. purchased adjoining land, a cabbage patch, and began to construct his theme park. The company opened one of the modern Busch Gardens parks at this site in 1966 at a cost of $4 million. The 17-acre spread, it included a 10-minute monorail tour that snaked around the facility and past windows that gave passengers a look at the brewing process. The amusement park included boat rides and, of course, free beer. The public got into the brewery action by taking a tour of the plant, which was conducted on a suspended trolley that traveled in and around the structures where the beer was brewed and bottled and packaged. After the monorail tour of the factory, you were dropped off at the back in the huge garden setup. With beautiful greenery everywhere, it was inviting to taste the various Busch products at no charge. At the time, Michelob, Budweiser, and Busch Bavarian, while one strolled the gardens. The tram ride crossed the railroad with a track painted blue. At its peak attendance, it was a major San Fernando Valley tourist attraction, with which it was complete with a bird show, boat rides, and free beer, and a monorail tour of the brewery facility. In 1972, a 5-acre parcel was added that included a log flume ride that traveled through the main garden area and then crossed over the Union Pacific Railroad to a large netted bird sanctuary. It was now encompassing over 22 acres. The new section included an exciting barrel flume ride, kind of like the log ride at Knott's Berry Farm in Disneyland, a huge walk-through flight cage, a magic show, a special showplace for otters, penguins, and sea lion programs, and an individual boat ride popular with young skippers. The expensive expansion in 1972 that saw the addition of a log ride and other attractions of the like, and necessitated the construction of a pedestrian bridge and another monorail line to adjoin the original brewery property to the new section of the park, beer certainly kept the patrons coming, but many, especially the children, went to see the birds. Busch's garden had plenty of them: flamingos, toucans, macaws, storks, swans, herons, egrets, more than 1,000 birds in all. There were bird shows, bird-focused tours, educational opportunity centered around birds. Busch's Gardens soon featured a monorail, boat rides, bumper cars, lagoons, waterfalls, 2,000 birds representing 25 rare species from all over the world, live entertainment, and once again, free beer. Busch's policy stated that visitors who were of drinking age could have 2 10-ounce glasses of beer at each of the 5 pavilions for an admission price of $1.75, a fee that tripled over the next 10 years. Attendance at the park began to dwindle despite the free beer, the birds, and the rides. Anheuser-Busch was making a killing with their product. After all, it was the mid-1970s that light beer was introduced, and it soon became extremely popular with domestic brewers. As a cost-cutting measure, Anheuser-Busch shut down the theme park in December of 1976, good year, and saved money by no longer having to operate or insure the rides and the riders. Under the new plan, the brewery operated the grounds as a free sales promotion facility where beer samples were free and there was no admission charge, just a $1 fee for parking and $1 for the boat ride, instead of charging a $5.25 adult admission price. August Busch III, who ran the operations, noted at the time that the Los Angeles Gardens had never been profitable and that their decision to convert Van Nuys Busch Gardens to a promotional facility would have a positive effect on earnings. The company focused on the birds that they'd become known for, and from 1977 on, Busch Gardens operated as a bird sanctuary. It officially reopened on January 5th, 1977, and boasted 1,500 birds of some 180 different species. Many wandered freely, some were viewable from the boat ride, and the injured ones lived on their own little island at the lake's center. Guests began their trip with a 15-minute tour of the brewing facility, with audio narration provided by Ed McMahon. In 1979, the park closed to make way for a major brewery expansion. The birds were moved to a nearby Los Angeles Zoo and the Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, and Williamsburg locations. The birds, however, still are thought to haunt the valley. Reminders of the Busch Gardens still fly in the skies above the valley. Some of the feral parrots and parakeets heard squawking overhead are believed to be the progeny of birds that escaped from the park, or survivors themselves. Thousands of wild birds have been spotted in the air all over Los Angeles, from the valley to the west side to the San Gabriel Valley from the 80s through now. In the valley, some suspect that the birds are escapees from the old Busch Gardens at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery in Van Nuys. Hundreds may have fled private cages, possibly working their way through the bars with their powerful beaks. The site of the Van Nuys theme park is currently a Bud Light facility, and one of the remnants of the park is the footbridge connecting to the 1972 expansion. The actual tracks on the ride's remnants are still visible today on the north side of the Busch grounds along Roscoe Boulevard, and passengers drive along the 405 through Van Nuys, California will instantly recognize this building and the remaining tracks. So what do you remember about this place? Leave a comment or a suggestion for a future video below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.
Bringing back memories from the good old days. That's super cool, man.